Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Later in the program tonight, cancer and genetics. Did Angelina Jolie make the right choice? That's coming up. First tonight, reality TV live from the Chesapeake Bay. Somewhere on the eastern shore is a very large bird's nest. Inside, a male and female osprey and their offspring. Above the nest, a very popular webcam operated by the Chesapeake Conservancy. And joining us now is Joel Dunn, the Conservancy's executive director. Joel, thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much for having me.
This is the first year that you've distributed this webcam.
That's right. What we wanted to do was share the magic of the ospreys with the rest of the world. And so we set up a high-definition camera on an osprey nest out on Kent Island. And it's been capturing the passion and interest of folks, not only here in the Chesapeake, but in up to 60 countries around the world. Folks have watched the nest.
People who get out on the water see osprey nests all over the place. They're always up on pilings or buoys or other markers, which I guess is a safe place to build a nest.
It's very safe from predators that would potentially eat the eggs of the couple.
What happens in the life of an osprey? So that's either the mother or father live right now on your webcam feeding, it looks like, 2 chicks.
That's right. So the life histories of osprey are really fascinating. They mate for life, so they're very loyal. They show up here in the Chesapeake. They fly from South America or Central America, come up here in the Chesapeake around March 17th, usually around St. Patrick's Day. They'll build their nest together, and the female will lay eggs. The male will then go out and hunt fish and bring those fish back to the nest.
Somebody just flew into the nest. I don't know if that was the male.
The male did just fly into the nest, and you can see that he, I believe, delivered a fish there, and the female will then deliver that fish to the young. There's 3 chicks in the nest. You can see them right there. There's 1 egg that's unhatched, and we don't actually expect for that egg to hatch at this point.
A little bit too late. It's hard to get a sense of scale here. Ospreys are big birds, and these are big nests. How big is this?
An osprey is about 2 feet tall and has a wingspan of approximately 6 feet. So these are large birds, and they're the top of the food chain. And actually, that's one reason why it's such an amazing story. These guys were almost eradicated from the Chesapeake Bay in the 1950s due to a chemical called DDT. And the EPA banned DDT, and the birds have had a resurgence. And now there's over 5,000 nests in the Chesapeake Bay, and the nests span maybe 3 or 4 feet. So when you go out kayaking on the Chesapeake Bay or its great rivers and experience this resource, you get to see a lot of ospreys out there today, thanks to some preventative action we took to restore the ospreys.
So many people get to see ospreys flying overhead. They get to see the nest from below. But the idea that you're giving people a live look into the nest, it's a great story in terms of the DDT and surviving that. But I want to say it's a human story, but it's not. But you get attached to the chicks.
You really do. And these osprey have names, Tom and Audrey. The owner of the nest is actually a former FBI agent, and he's been spying on these osprey for many years now. He named them after other former FBI agents. So people actually have put a face to the name, you might say, and they've grown to love and care for these birds. We're receiving up to 3,000 hits a day on our website, and over 80,000 people unique visitors have come to our website to see this magic and live thing happen.
In a second here, let's roll in the tape that was sent earlier, just so we can get a sense of the growth rate. But let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about ospreys, the health of the bay, or this webcam, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions to @MPT News or use the hashtag OspreyCam. Let's see if we have that video from earlier on. You've recorded some of this tape, And this is a little bit higher resolution because it's not live streaming. You don't know offhand how long ago this was shot, where the chicks are a lot smaller.
That was shot probably, I'd say, last week.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
they're growing like crazy. It's a great time to tune in and see the nest. Just a little bit about this footage that you're seeing here. A technology company out of Glen Burnie called Skyline Technologies. They actually do the traffic cameras. They teamed up with us and provide us with this technology so that we could get these cameras on the nest and give you this clear footage here.
There's no backup on Kent Island at the moment. Now, I thought the location was secret.
It is. We're not disclosing the exact property.
All right, Kent Island's a big place. So how's the camera installed?
The camera, so we had a volunteer who worked for another company called Earth Security who went out there, climbed through the water, through the mud, set up a ladder on a pole, and then ran a wire underneath the water to a dock nearby and then into our generous friend's house where the cable feed is run.
So nobody has to climb up there to adjust the camera, but if you did, how would the ospreys react to that?
I don't think they'd care for that very much. They're fiercely defensive of their nest.
Let's take a phone call. This is Sherry in Prince George's County.
Yes.
Sherry, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm looking at the Osprey, and they look very intelligent.
Yeah, they certainly do. Do you have a question?
No, I was very interested in the offspring and the birds.
Okay, thanks very much for watching, and thanks for the call. You mentioned there were 3 chicks, and one of them, the last I saw, was a lot smaller than the others. What's going on there?
Well, the eggs are laid on different days, and so the first one to hatch has a much higher likelihood of survival. And you'll see this, their size is in accordance with the days in which they hatched. So the smaller one hatched later. It's at a significant disadvantage in terms of competing for food. And this has been somewhat difficult for our viewers to watch. This is nature in action. This is the real deal. And it's not always easy to see the competition that's going on in the nest. But if the Chesapeake is very productive with fish, with very rich fisheries, then the osprey have more fish to feed to the chicks, and there's a higher survival rate for the little guys.
Ospreys are big, powerful birds, and they can drag a rockfish out of the bay, but that's not generally what they're getting here.
Usually it's perch, or in other parts of the bay it's menhaden. And you've heard some talk about reducing the menhaden fishery slightly. They've passed some agreements.
Protect the menhaden.
Yeah, and that's very important because menhaden not only feed other fish in the Chesapeake, but they also are a primary source of food for the osprey.
Ton of phone calls here. Let's talk to Betty in Prince George's County. Betty, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm calling regarding a nest of ospreys that turned up on our pier in Northumberland County, Virginia. We own the property there. And to our amazement, when we went down in April, there was these 2 guys building this pier. And we called the game warden, and this was the 1st of April, and he said that we could destroy it as long as there were no chicks or eggs in the nest, and they had just started. So we did, and bless their hearts, they came back 3 times. After the 3rd time, we just had to let them have the pier. Now we can't use our pier, but that's okay because they're such an entertainment. Her name is Clarice, his name is Vernon, and they have 2 babies that I named Ophelia because Ophelia is the name of the post office where our property is.
Very good. Betty, thank you so much for the phone call. We appreciate that.
Well, wait a minute. Can I ask you my question? Which
Sure,
is,
very briefly.
When they fledge, what do we do about the nest?
Great question. Thanks for the call.
Well, that's a great observation, and I appreciate her love of the osprey. I think that's wonderful, and it's a great testament to their resilience. In terms of our osprey nest, we clean out the nest every year from the platform, and when they come back from South America, they rebuild the nest every year. So
is it the same birds on the same spot?
It's the same birds on the same spot.
All the way from South America.
And they mate for life, and they split up. After the chicks fledge in September, they'll split up for the season. So one will go to one country, one go to another. Then they come back in March and meet here in the Chesapeake Bay and renew their romance.
What do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder?
Perhaps.
Animal Kingdom version. Let's talk to Patrick in Anne Arundel County. Patrick, you're on. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. My question is, in the last 20 years, I've been here all my life on the Maggie River in Severn, and a lot more resident geese and resident duck are staying all through the winter. Do ospreys ever stay, or do they always migrate?
Thanks very much.
I
don't want to hold you out as a marine biologist or anything, but you know a bit about it.
So just so for way of background, I run a nonprofit called the Chesapeake Conservancy, so I'm not a biologist, but I can say that all osprey migrate to Central South America for the winter. In fact, after the chicks fledge, they'll stay down there for 2 or 3 years before they return to the Chesapeake. They kind of get their bearings and learn how to make their way in life before they come back to the Chesapeake.
What does fledge mean? Is that first flight, or that's leaving the nest?
When they leave the nest for the first time.
Okay, but we'll see these guys. Stay tuned for a couple of weeks. They'll take that first plunge off the edge there.
Yeah, and it'll be pretty exciting to watch.
How high in the nest tends to be? I don't know, 5, 10 or more feet?
This is probably 8 feet off the water.
Okay. Let's talk to Nina in Dorchester County. Nina, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering, I live on Elliotts Island, Dorchester County, and we have ospreys right down on the beach. And my question is, what would be the greatest thing to put a camera on them as well?
Okay, thanks, Nina. We'll get you an answer on the air. Is this one of these don't try this at home situations?
I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of work to set up a high-definition osprey cam. If we didn't have the help of our technology partners and some experienced biologists, we'd have a really difficult time setting this up. You've probably seen some other bird cameras of the past that just take a picture every 15 seconds. Just because of the unique technology and the experts we're working with, we've been able to do this. I think it is possible to do, but it is very challenging.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on the technology, but there is something called a drop cam that's gotten very popular. It's like $150 Wi-Fi, and if you can get Wi-Fi out there, that might be worth a try. I
think that point too is really important, that the technology that we're privy to now has allowed us to reach nature in new ways, and it's helped us revolutionize the conservation movement. We're able to make better decisions, spend limited conservation dollars smarter, and like never before. So it gives great hope for the Chesapeake Bay.
What have the past couple of months been like for your web people?
Oh, yeah, they've been very busy. But, it's funny because everybody else in the office has been tuning into it, too. So our office productivity is going a little bit down, but we're having a lot of fun, and it's really heartening to bring the magic of the Chesapeake to everybody's screen.
Well, for many people, the Chesapeake is just something you drive over on the way to Ocean City. This is up close and personal.
Yeah, and if you see it, you learn to love it. You'll be more willing to volunteer for it. You'll donate to it. We're starting this thing called an Osprey Club to try and attract donors to our nonprofit. So, it's a way to really engage the public in the restoration and conservation movement.
So we'll see if we can crash your server tonight. It's ChesapeakeConservancy.org.
That's correct.
And you can handle about 5,000 streams at a time. And there's a line of thunderstorms heading for the eastern shore tonight, so we'll hope the birds hunker down for that. Joel Dunn of the Conservancy, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Congratulations on this.
Thank you.
And just ahead tonight, exploring cancer and genetics with our medical experts and more of your calls. We'll be right back.
We are all flooded with images these days, taken by millions of people all over the planet with smartphones.
It seems like everybody's got one.